Welcome to the second to last episode of Flesh and Blood on a Budget. Alright, so the video is really late. Sorry, last week was cold in Hamburg. I came back, and when I came back, I was sick. Then I had no internet. Then I had to work. Then I had a progress. So it was a busy and shit week of my part. So sorry for being late. And when I wanted to edit everything together, turns out some things had no audio. So need to record that. Anyway, enjoy. Today we're going to one of the oldest stores in Berlin. Going to Voximoron. It's I would say it's one of the OG stores here in Berlin. So I'm excited to finally be able to keep the store spotlight. So last week we had another 2-on-1 week. That's basically our bread and butter at this point. The deck is also completed, meaning some things we can like finally tune in. I have a not really good card, but I have a good card in the sense I got for this week. It was a card I wasn't really expecting to get when I started, but as it turns around, I got it. So there are a lot of changes to be done this week. The most important one is we're going to be parting ways with the Iris of the Blossom. This is a headpiece we have been playing from the beginning, but after checking the budget and checking some prices, I noticed we are able to afford an Arakni Skull Cap. This is one of the OG equipments. It was the OG head equipment that everyone was using, except for Katsu, of course, since Katsu has the Mask of Momentum. I mean, Ari as well, but Skull Cap is sometimes block 3 and sometimes AB3 that will help us against Verdance and maybe against Syndra. Just having one more armor block available. As well, we're going to reintroduce the Humble to our deck. Um, Humble is a card that we changed immediately after we got access to erase phases, since that's like a better disruption card. But Humble is really good against KO or against other decks that depend a lot on their durability. Going to be parting ways with the Philosopherist in this case. So Philosopherist, I haven't really been able to gain a lot of value, especially I haven't since we don't have tunic. We can go like the tunic into Featuring Thorns, Philosophist. Scar for Scar into Philosophist was a play, but it was it wasn't that often that happened. And since it costs 0, it's just like some wasted value. If I am just throwing this with the Edge of Autumn. And last but not least, I'm going to be getting rid of the Last Word Mist Blossom. This is a card that I honestly never resolved properly. Uh, so we're just going to cut it, especially since the Iris is also gone. And we're introducing one Smashing Good Time. So this Smashing Good Time is mostly for burdens. Maybe it's a way that we can get rid of a pot. If we play like Smashing and then we go wide, maybe we can get rid of a pot. Oh no. Let's see how everything goes. See you at the store. All right, so round 1 is going to be Arakni, aka Luigi. Ragnar Huntsman is basically a fatigue deck. I think there is no really other way you would be able to play him, especially if the new card Hunter x Hunter. That's another really powerful card. Can just take so much away from your opponent. Um, yeah, so it's most likely fatigue, and we need to be aware of the contra card that basically mill us on one card, and he basically just wants like to mill us out. I am honestly a big believer of the Clean 60. I think just being able to pitch like faster through our deck, it's honestly great. Uh, in some matchups, maybe you could argue that you could play more cards, but sometimes if you play more cards, you're just playing like more reds, meaning your deck is going to be a bit more bricky. But yeah, after playing this matchup once, it's honestly really tough to rate it because after you look at the gameplay, you're going to like to notice some things. So I'm not sure if this is just a matchup that we are really unfavored simply because our deck doesn't have like that much pressure, and if the Arakni gets like lucky with the Hunter, we can just instantly lose the game. All right, so my opponent starts throwing up Prophetic Prognosis. I was thinking there was maybe just a nick, so I just want like to be careful about it. So I block with the two blue cards, hoping that I draw like another blue card next turn. But I was a bit unlucky, and I had like no blue cards on my next round, so I had like just to throw a naked amnesia, and it was also like a bit unfortunate. My opponent had the Arakni specialization card, so uh, my opponent made my turn a bit weaker, and then just throws a Leave No Witness that gets us just cleanly blocked with the thing below from my arsenal. And I'm just trying like to think what I can do about this, just making a pseudo pitch deck. Like the problem is like the cards that get banished at the end, as we will see like later. So my opponent makes like quote unquote a play that's honestly not that good, just throwing a naked surgical naked surgical is just like 4 damage that gets like easily blocked by an equipment, but I was pretty sure my opponent had something like the cut to the chase. But since I had like 2D reacts, I had like no issue and just throw 6 damage back. So now um my opponent attacks the like this command conqueror. It isn't like the most powerful command. Pitched like a jello card, so there's no real way that my opponent's going like to pummel me on that. But my hand wasn't like awesome to block with, so I just took the command and hope for the best. As my hand wasn't like great, as you can see. Like you see, I had like two two blocks. So sorry, three two blocks and um like all the sirens that just goes to my arsenal. But my opponent plays like the reactor hunted, and it is massive, the first one. So the massive hits, the first one hits my favorite scenes. Losing all my favorite scenes not only takes like 12 defensive damage value from my deck, but also takes my D-React. So that's honestly a big issue for me at that point. And not only that, but the follow up is a command that it takes like two more cards from my hand, two red cards for to notes, and also my pulsing pulse block. So the thing is, usually this damage I don't really want like to block it, since honestly it's not like I'm going to have like a lot of issues with like life and stuff. I just want to block like the cards that basically banish from the top, and I need like to try to just do more damage. And as we can see here, I'm just trying to do that just to break the defensive overlap. And yeah, so my opponent swings with the with the dagger, spider spats, and hits. And the follow up is a codex. I need to give like even more stuff because I'm like far ahead in life, and the spider spat hits, so I'm like above in life, meaning my skull cap isn't like life at all. So just problem after problem, you know. I'm just like trying to push the most damage of the cards I have. I can realistically never use my Arcana's card up since my opponent is playing like 9 red D reacts plus Oasis of Respite plus the blue D react. So it's I don't know, it's way too powerful, I guess. And the follow up is another Little Witness with a card in hand. So I'm probably thinking it is something in the form of cut to the chase. So since I don't have like that many D reacts, it's going to be a bit of a problem. But yeah, so I had my flick flag ready, luckily, and I also blocked like 5 on the next one. Just heal 6 and pass the turn. I mean, there's no way that my opponent is going to do like a lot with 4 cards, right? Right. So swings just Spider Bite and plays Persuasive. I just block with 1 card. I think my hand blocks. If I think my hand is fine, regardless of what my opponent takes. So I just block this, and if my opponent has just nick, then my opponent has just nick. If not, then I'm fine, you know. So my hand isn't awesome. I have like a lot of blue cards, but I just start with Ash of Autumn into Vengeance and Arrest. My opponent blocks with a D-React, and as we can see in my opponent's hand, there is another shelter in hand. So if I use the kind of Scar Ups, then I'm just going to instantly lose the game. So I just decide like to stack this neck vengeance that's on my hand like for the future, and play this blue silence from my arsenal. Just like to try to push damage, maybe heal a little bit more, and to have like greater turns later. And especially now that my opponent plays like another Leave No Witness, I'm just isolated against that. But the coercive tendencies are a little bit annoying since they can just snipe some of the best cards in my deck, and the Leap also like has a card that wants to banish with that. But yeah, I'm just trying to make ends meet with like the cards I have and like to push all the damage I can while keeping cards in my deck. So tuning plus eradicate usually means there's something like the cut to a chase coming. Um, I can't really avoid that, so I just block one card and at the end get like 2 cards banish of the eradicate and the mask, which is like fine-ish, I guess. I mean, it is what it is, you know. I didn't really want to block that moment, but I need to block. And I had like some nice combo with 100 wins. Sadly, I had no Winds of Eternity. Otherwise, it would be like a really cool turn, just throwing the 2 wins and threatening like a shuffle back. But my opponent blocks with the shelter, and I think, okay, my opponent already played 2D reacts. Has only 1 card left. Sorry, 2 cards left, and there are a lot of D reacts already gone. So I think I can afford to activate my Arcana Scarabs here, just like to do some chip damage, since that kind of damage is going to be like pretty relevant. And of course, after that, I draw the 100 wins that I don't really need and would have been like awesome last turn. Yeah, my hand isn't awesome, so I try like to keep the cool cards in my deck and just like wait to see what happens. So double trouble is maybe a little bit problematic. The thing with double trouble is because there are so many cool existing reactions on board. Double trouble is always live, so that's a big issue. It always comes for 5, and it always banishes 2 cards from my deck, and I don't really want that. So I try like to block that. Yeah, so my opponent double reacts it, and I was happy to see that my opponents had like no other reactions, so I just blocked that with a sink below and try to do like things with what I have. But tragedy strikes. So I'm trying like to do a classic flying kick turn, just throwing my Edge of Autumn into like a Gorgon card and finishing up with flying kick. But my opponent plays Hunter on the second card and declares flying kick. So now my opponent is able to look at my deck, my hand, and my arsenal and banish all cards saying flying kick, up to 3. Meaning this Hunter just blocked for 11. And not only that, but also took like 19 damage out of my deck. So the first one hits all my faithful scenes, meaning my reacting capabilities are down. The second one hits not only blocks for 11, but it also takes like 19 damage of my deck. And I don't really like that. So I need like to pass turn having like 3 card 5 because my opponent just took like so much damage away from me. And on top of that comes back with like that upon the poor. It's like another mill because I don't have like 4 blocks, so it is what it is. And yeah, so just try like to do the most damage I can at this point. Between thorns into race phase, 11 damage up to 12 damage. It is kind of okay. The crackback from my opponent is a CNC, threatening to take even more cards away from me, but I just block with 2 blues that I don't really need anyway. And I'm just trying to make ends meet. I swing with my neck benches that I pitched like a while ago, and my opponent's blocks again with the last Hunter. I know the last card in my deck is going to be like the top card of my deck is going to be the last ditch efforts, and my opponent just banishes all my last ditch efforts. So my plan to do basically last ditch efforts with flying kicks is just that, because like that effing card that exists, because and just like take for free all my cards away. Yeah. So and at the end I just get fatigued. I think honestly the new card is strong. It literally carried the game. I don't see like how Arakni would be able like to win a game if not by banishing like 12 defensive value into 19 offensive value into like 18 sorry into like 16 offensive value, more offensive value. So It just took more than 50 value out of my deck, so I guess it is what it is. So now we're playing against one of the new heroes in Tuffnut. So Tuffnut can have high defense since he creates this toughness tokens, and those tokens help him like to block more. And he also has access to the classic brute fridge, but he has a low offense, meaning he is not able to use like large hands. And sometimes his game plan would be only like to block with 3 cards, get a lucky hit from the top, and rock for 7. That's honestly high value, but if we just do an offensive overlap, meaning we go like 3 or 4 chains wide, he isn't going to be able to block that much. So this is going to be our um, sweep against Tuffnut, just the defensive equipment. I was thinking maybe the rope is fine since it gives us like a resource and we can do that for like some offensive overlap. The otherwise we're not running the Scarface car since we're most likely going to be on tempo, and instead of just running the 100 wins.
Round two. Now we're going to play against another of the new heroes. This time it's going to be Tuffnut. Um, I've never played against Tuffnut like in paper. Right now, I think I only had like one game of Punisher, so it's going to be fun. Let's see what exactly this guy can do. So he wins Daryl and decides to go first. I mean, it makes sense. Him having 3 cards, making vulnerable to us just like attacking and trying like to push some damage. So start like pitching from the top, gaining no confidence, but swinging with the swing big. So the swing big, I just block it out and basically gain a quick for free. That would like enable me to throw like 2 big attacks. Uh, I sadly didn't have like any blue card to also enable the combo, but I could throw 2 big attacks and manage to push like some damage. So he was a bit too trigger happy with his equipment. He blocked the first attack with the Apex Stormbreaker, getting like 1 might, but the might wasn't able like to be really converted since when he activated Tuffnut, he pitched a red card from the top. I mean, it feels a bit weird when Tuffnut wants like to block 3 and then pitch from the top, and it feels like if it's like anything but a blue, you get punished so hard sometimes. That's like the thing I really like about this hero. Yeah, so he just gets punished and has the turn, and I have like a pretty good turn with a Sick Vengeance and just push like certain damage. I'm also like pretty trigger happy with my kind of Scarab since I'm pretty sure that Tuffnut isn't going to be running like any D-React. Maybe he's running something like a Reckless Thing or something like that, but don't really think he's going to be doing it. And then he pitches from the top, pitches a blue card, and goes Rock. I mean, it's fine. I think my deck is pretty designed like to trade 2 cards for 2 cards, and if I attack with 2 cards, he defends with 3, and then swings with 1, and then swings, and I give him 2 cards, and he's losing like 3 cards per turn. I'm losing only 2, so I think in theory I would be winning on like that match. The problem would be when like a lot of toughness are on play, and he can like block with the first card and maybe like swing something big. Like the buckballs are like pretty decent. We can see him like rolling for the first time with the scabies. He really wanted like to attack into rock. I mean that would be a lot of damage to be honest. Basically only for free, especially with like the card that costs 0 when you cheered. That's like if you roll scabies and hit, you can do like 2 cards at the end. That's honestly pretty impressive. So against all this kind of fatigue decks, you usually want to like tank your damage. Like you can play a bit mid range, and prepare for like a big turn where you go like 3 or 4 chains wide. Ideally 4 because that's how you push like a lot of damage. For example, in this case where I go at bottom into 100 wins, and then finishing with a flying kick. That's like 1 into 4 into 4 into 7. So I'm pushing 18 damage, 16 damage. Sorry. Uh, that's how I get like the damage dealt, especially since he only has 3 cards, but there are like some cards that block 6 if he has no card in hand. So that's something we need to be aware, especially when he comes after with a rock for 8. So that's some good value at his part. So we just continue this mid-range plan where I try to block with two cards, attack with two cards, and set up for the last turns. And whenever Tuffnut plays like these cards that make him uh, Darkness tokens, I want to block since it makes absolutely no sense for me to attack when he does that. Since he has like three Darkness tokens, he can just block with one card, my attack for 7, and just like do something else with his other two cards. So in that case, I just tried to block this swim big. I hadn't enough to block it to gain the quicken, but I think it was like whatever since I can't really use the quicken that good. And he makes like back to back the fact that makes like him like a lot of tokens. But I had like a humble. Really wanted to throw this humble since if like throwing the humble it basically just takes one card away from him. But he had like enough block for that. So he only blocked my humble with two cards. Now he throws an agile wind up and throws the rock. I mean that can be a bit scary since he with him with the agility that enables like the two card 13 that sorry the one card 13 that I talked before when he just like activates Tuffnut, get 6, get cheered, and attack for 6 into rock for 7. Those are like some scary things. But now, but currently it's just fine-ish. We just keep trading cards. We are on life parity. I had a bit of a rough hand and want to try to see if I can like pitch stack something for late game, like this flying kick with 100 wins. That's like one way I can win the late game if I have like late turns of that, but not as fine blocking with three cards. But because he only has three cards to block, then he's always susceptible to taking some damage if we go like really wide. And again, these humbles are honestly really good against Tuffnut, but he always has like a nice way to block it. But if you go like wide and finish with a humble, then that's honestly really backbreaking. Sadly, I didn't have like a nice way to go wide. And right here, the headpiece had like 50% chance of like hitting the red card, and it hit the red card, so we just passed turn in that case, which is like a bit bad. And now he plays Song of Sinew. It's a okayish card for Tuffnut. Like it helps me, it helps him like to know what card he has to pitch, and then but he didn't play his cards correctly, I would say, and pitch before instead of playing the song and then pitching. That way he would like guaranteed his bonus, but he did that misplay and ended up just doing nothing at the end. Just throwing like a card, one of like this disabled cards, I think. Yeah. Then right now it's more on a plan of I take some damage and prepare for second cycle, since I know if I reach the second cycle, I'm probably going to be winning if I have like a really nice stack. So just try and like to pitch stack the thing from a second cycle. So Tuffnut, I think it's a deck you can give him like three or four cards to play with. Since if he doesn't have like a Buckweld, an agility, or randomly hits scabs, then you're going to be pretty fine into him. Since a lot of the time he isn't going to be able like to fully utilize his hands, especially if he has like some bad cards. Like if you give him three cards, he's probably going to do less damage than if you give him like zero cards. It really depends on what he draws. Like he has like the Song of Sinew or the thing that creates tokens, and then his next attack gains value equals to the amount of token. That's going to be like an issue. Or if he rolls like Scab Skins and then like throws a lot of damage, that's also going to be an issue. So I know if when he has like large attacks, then I want to block. If he has like nothing, then I just take it and set up. And now we're just back on the pitch deck after like doing all the things. Now I have like my flying kick with 100 wins turn that I planned, which puts me like a really nice life lead. Again, I'm like breaking a little bit with some cards that I really didn't like wanted to have, and I'm just planning here towards the last ditch effort. So I know I have like enough life in order to just take a couple of hits without like doing anything. And if I'm getting like at the end to my last ditch effort turn, then I'm going to be winning because, as I said, Toughnut had only three cards, and if he doesn't have like a toughness or something prepared, and it's going to be like game ending. And in this case, I had like a really powerful last ditch effort turn since I had started last ditch effort into Between Thorns and finishing with a red blind kick. So I had two reds in the mix. And for next turn, I also had like another last ditch effort prepared. So that was some nice finishing action.
So once again against Verdance, I think Verdance is the hero we played the most against. I mean, it's probably the best deck in the format, but yeah. So we need to stay healthy just to avoid getting comboed or just to stay away of Stratus range, especially in late game. The Stratus range would be about 7, since it's Blue Emeritus plus Waning Moon, that's 7 damage. Oasis is huge to prevent like arcane damage, especially now that Light Up the Leaves exist. We went up to 3 Oasis just like to stay healthy. And we cannot play that much of Arcana Scarab, especially since Verdance is running 90 React on top of mental blocks. We're probably going to be saving our Arcana activations to the second cycle. This is going to be our burn sweep. Pretty important. Now we have access to Arcane Skullcap, meaning we can just AB3 if we want in some cases, if we are lower in life than our opponents. Otherwise, it's just the classic sweep we play with the whole time.
So now, round 3 against Burns, well known deck at this point for us. I won the roll, so I decided to go first since Burns doesn't really do a lot going second. Like, worst thing she can do is like throw a spell or throw a command and conquer, and like the worst case is throw a spell because we can only like prevent 4 damage, but she can also do that going first, and that case would be like the same. So it's not that bad for us. And so I just attack, trying to filter my hand, trying to stack this red flank kick to the late game, and she takes it, and that's it. In her turn, plays a Burn Bird, shipping some damage. We can prevent 2 and 1 on the Waning Moon if that would be a problem. So I start swinging with my Edge of Autumn into my Bittering Thorns. I had no finisher at this point, and I was gambling of this Legacy of Ikaru. If my opponent like only blocked 5, then I play the Legacy and draw 1 card due to like the pseudo combo ability. And that happened, and I got just rewarded because I drew this Erase Face, and coming for 7, that's really messy, especially if he has something like bad Feeling of the Crown, because at least he won't be able to decompose. But nope, he only has a cool play of Ring of Roses into Waning Moon and passing. My hand isn't looking that great. I had 4 quad red, so I just pitch 1 sink below in order like to keep some life, and I throw 2 cat 7, 3 cat 7. That's honestly pretty terrible, but at least I'm doing like a stack with this neck vengeance, and it might be able to win me the game later if I get like some important card from him. And his response is like the Bumber. It's a lot of damage, especially now that he has like Ring of Roses. That is just some extra value. It's basically like a 3 for 7 now that the Ring of Roses is established, and I can just prevent a little bit, like 2 damage. It's at least 4 damage to get through, but though that's at least like 2 Burnbers out of the deck. So when the six spells are out, then I can feel a little bit more confident since I cannot die from like 9 in the late game. I was honestly not so sure what I was thinking on this turn cycle. I ping me myself on one. I honestly don't remember. I think I kept like a direct and a sick vengeance. Maybe I wanted like to do like a bigger turn, and at the end I just do like the sick vengeance plus 100 wins. I really like the 100 wins in the matchup for now that I don't have like Tunic, because that's a card that pairs really well with the sick vengeance. Maybe like the Flusterfist would have done a bit more if I played them together with the 100 wins, but I honestly didn't side the 100 wins that often, like at least against most matches. I'm going like to be reviewing my sideboard in that case. I think the 100 wins are like better than I thought, especially they have almost the same value as the Between Thorns, and if I join multiples, I am happy to see them. about the Bittering Thorns, I'm not happy if I see them in multiples because they only block 2 and cost 1, so they don't really fit into the curve. And the 100 wins give me like more configurations that the deck is useful. For example, I can have like 100 wins with like a Sick Vengeance, or 100 wins with Winds of Eternity. That basically gives me one red and blue combination more that I want to have. It's not only like blue plus 2 cost. Now I can have 100 wins plus Winds of Eternity, and it deals like the same amount of damage. It can fuck my pitch tag up, but it can also gives me like some extra cards to play with.
So my opponent now plays a Light Up the Lips, and to be honest, I was expecting him to follow up with the Waning Moon. But after looking at the footage, I see that he accidentally put that card from his hand into the arsenal. It was Fruits of Forest, so he kind of did like that error, and now he couldn't pitch for the Waning Moon because he was thinking the card was in his arsenal. So we just started like trading value, and I noticed like how the card from his arsenal was screwing him a little bit because he didn't really wanted to have like that card in his arsenal, and that led him like to him just doing like some errors with like this Chandam Elementary. But my hand wasn't like great since I had all reds, so I just so the raise face at least guarantees that the channel Elementary is like out of the table. And yeah, so my opponent just plays the pulsing thingy and deals some arcane damage while trading some value. I'm a little bit low, but I think I still have like 2 sigils in my deck. And now this plow under hits the table, and my hand just sucked. So I ended up blocking with 2 red sirens and 100 wins. That's honestly a really bad trade, because I'm trading two like two powerful cards and one okay card from a deck just to trade for his card, but I'm still not doing like anything. If like I would need like to keep the full grip just in order like to do something, because then I would swing like 100 Winds of Sword into like the Rend Siren, so that's some damage. But I also take damage, and I don't really want to go that low, especially since I know he has like some amping stuff like the Channel Elementary, and of course the best card, one of the best cards in the game, the Storm Striders. So now they're a felling hits the board, and once again my hand is pretty red heavy, but I have like no issues just blocking that since I can easily block 8. But I'm getting like a little bit worried since back to back now I have traded like a lot of powerful cards in the form of like 6 red cards just like to prevent some damage, and that's honestly not exactly what I want to be doing. But now I'm like back on track, just trying to swing on some value. We're like equal in life, so it's a shame about the skull cap. That's not really like live. So that's like a bit of an issue in here. But yeah, so as long as we're like trading value this way, I think it should be like fine-ish for me since I can just maybe win with the last ditch efforts. So these plow owners are like quite annoying because they are just so uninteractive. Unless I have something like a sigil, then it's going to be like whatever. But right now we're just trading blow for blow. The Oasis being really helpful just to prevent some damage from the light up the leaves and stuff. I pitch here the D-React extra to the ping from Verdance, because sometimes if I'm just like trying to have more value per card, since I think in the next turns I'm going to be blocking with 3 cards and assigning one anyway, or just having one extra card. So I'm pretty sure a card is going to be able to hit my arsenal at some point in the next couple of turns, and I just want like try to get most value out of the cards I currently have, and I just throw like the sirens and just heal more life. And he also throws the sirens. Of the Ring of Roses, the sirens are really powerful since he also gains um, pings 1 arcane when he heals of the sirens, and then if that connects, he also pings another time from the Ring of Roses. So it's honestly really powerful. It turns like a 2 for 9 if it's able to connect. So something that I've been noticed lately from playing a lot of Ira is while the deck is good, the deck doesn't have like an insta win card. For example, here, um, Falling the Crown is such a powerful card. It's basically like a 3/4/11. It deals 8 damage on its own. It's already like pretty good, but on top it takes like an extra card away from your opponent's hand, and it develops your game plan in form of decomposing. So it's so powerful. In this case, my opponent baited me to to pitch for the Verdance trigger. Since the thing is, if I don't pitch for that, then he gets the Ring of Roses, and he's going to have like 3 value out of that. So I still get quote unquote 3 value from my card pitching it. I just like take 2 value out of my opponent. Um, yeah, and I also have like an Oasis, so it's kind of fine-ish. I think this here right now was a mistake of my part, not blocking with like the skull cap just to preserve some life. Since I don't know when it's going to be like the next moment I am going to be blocking with the skull cap. Yeah, so I'm honestly not so sure what happened here. I see my opponent blocking for 7 and with the embodiment that he forgot to put on the table. I don't know why. He just said I block 7, and I just thought like we both forgot about the embodiment. I think. So I just start counting like for the react and stuff, and notice okay, it's probably highly likely that I can activate my Arcana Scarabs, and I did it. So in theory, we will be blocking 8 for 8, but we kind of both forgot about the embodiments. I see, so I just took like the pulsing ether alive from his arsenal, and it was probably like a mistake from both of us. So he attacks now with physical damage, and I still have this Fate Foreseen that I pitched a couple of turns ago. So the thing is, we noticed how I didn't really need the arsenal like in the couple of turns after that, and so the Fate would be like whatever in the arsenal at that time, and right now it just comes back and blocks for 4. So that's honestly cool, I guess. Now I'm just trying to keep more life, but we're both like fairly high, so I'm getting a bit worried what's like going to happen, especially if we reach certain moment of like stalemate, where we both like can do like anything. Like for example, if he has like one one Eva Bloom life, he's just going to heal the one I'm going to hit, so we're reaching like a stalemate in that case. So it's just like a little bit weird. And I try to do things with the things I had, but it's like playing only with blue cards. It's not enough. And right now, like the block from the Arcana Skull Cap finally comes to play after my opponent swings with this Plow Under. And like Plow Under is so annoying, just taking cards away. Especially if it's like a really well timed Plow Under, it can just screw up my last for turn. So I need to be mindful about like the Plow Unders for my opponent. Well, in general, the aggression of this Edge of Autumn deck is a bit lower than the Kodachi version since we don't have like that much go again. The blue base is way better. Like for example, if we break with a Kodachi list with like 4 blues, then we're screwed. We can do literally nothing. But at least in this build, we can go like 1 into 3 or 4 go again, and finishing like for 5 or for 6, something like that. So it's not that bad, and especially the sirens that heal 1 life, they're like so good. The sirens. So Verdance has 1 out against fatigue. It's mostly the evergreen. It's like one of those earth cards that's honestly a bit annoying, but it is what it is. It's a card that just recursion for the earth heroes. But luckily for us, the Verdance didn't have like that many cards in deck. So like the 2 times I think Verdance play evergreen this game were were like fine-ish for Verdance, since it's like only 10 value in the deck, and I still have like some gas. I know Verdance isn't going to be killing me like from 12, so I just take the hit and try to play with like the gas I have. I know if I just play the cards I have, I'm able to push like a lot of damage and do like things. And I also have like this red flying kick that I've been pitching for a while. And after that, I have like the last HF return plant. So first, just place the next evergreen, goes to the bottom, and Now I think Verdance like 2 or 3 cards in hand. I'm at 7 life, so it's going to be like okayish for me since I'm past above the threshold of just like dying to what Verdance might have. So I just do like the double SH effort since that's going to be like more than enough to kill my opponent. Man, what a way to go! Finishing the last armory 2-1, losing against none other than Arakni Huntsman. I think the deck is stronger than I thought. But like losing all my 3 4 scenes was the first reaction, all 3 flying kicks for the second one, and all my last ditch efforts for the third one hurt a lot. So basically, the second one blocked for 11, and that really screwed me over in the long run. The card is really good. I don't think the deck is that good. Probably just loses against like any good aggro deck, not like a bad deck. But yeah, the deck is complete. Now next week we're playing the ProQuest. Depending on how many rounds I play, I'm maybe going to split it. I think it's going to be like 6 rounds plus top cut. So I maybe just going to be splitting like into at least 4 rounds per week. Yeah, but just tune in and watch what happens. See you next week.